Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast presented by Bolin Media. I am your host, joined today by producer Kade Orris. Kade, how was your weekend?
Just another weekend, going out, getting after it. I drank 5 times in the past 7 days. So
Yeah, you had a rough stretch.
I did. A little bit of a bender. Not a full week one, but it was pretty darn close.
An adult version of a bender.
Yeah.
I would call it.
Exactly.
Where you were out and socializing.
Mm-hmm. But
Not
I feel
like house parties.
No.
Yeah.
Out at the bars. But I don't feel like absolute shit right now, which is good.
Oh, so you're jinxing it though. That's the delayed, like it's going to hit you like Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Well, I'm fine Wednesday, so.
That's a good day to feel like shit then.
Yeah. Early
Traveling is annoying anyway, to me at least.
Yeah, so I'll have that to look forward to.
Good. But you kept the streak alive
I did
this weekend?
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to.
I would say good for you, but it's really
It's
bad
really
for
not.
you.
Yeah, no,
so.
it's terrible for me, but
So I won't encourage it. I'll just acknowledge it,
yeah.
and then I'll move on.
Okay, yeah.
I had a productive weekend, I would say. I still feel terribly behind on everything,
Yeah.
like work and personal life, which I think is just a permanent thing now. Like I don't think I'll ever feel caught up ever again. Or at least not for like the next 20 years until I'm like old. I really genuinely believe that. So that's where I'm at. But I did a lot of yard work, mostly front yard work. I did the mowing and the weed whacking and the edging. Edging is my favorite.
I saw that. Yeah, no, it looked really good. Being a landscaper, I do appreciate a nice, well-kept yard.
There's nothing like it.
No.
Nothing like it. And my house is a bit of it's deceiving because the front yard is immaculate. Like my wife had the flower beds redone. There used to be mulch in there. Mulch is hell. Anybody who has mulch knows this. So we had them filled with these like pretty gray rocks, right? So I don't have to worry about all the weeds growing in there anymore. But the backyard is an absolute shit show because of the 4 dogs. And then now this giant inflatable kiddie pool / slide blow up sprinkler phenomenon that I have to deal with, which I talked about last week in our 4th of July recap, but we have my stepdaughter this weekend and I had to get it out again. And I wasn't happy about that. I hadn't gotten it all the way put away. Like it was still out. It just wasn't in the yard. It was just crumpled up on my porch. And I had to set it all back up again and further destroy and drown my backyard, which is in such a state that it really doesn't matter at this point. Like in a year, I foresee myself coughing up thousands of dollars for new grass. That's where this ends. That's the end game. And I know that, and I'm making peace with it as we speak. But put that thing back. My parents came in Saturday afternoon, which is always nice. My parents are weird. They've been divorced since I was, 18? But they've known each other since kindergarten, and they're still like best friends. So they when they come to visit, they travel together. Like they only come as a pair. So it's confusing for my stepdaughter because she's like trying to make sense of like marriage, and she asks about weddings a lot because she was like in my wedding, which you filmed, so you're aware. So she asked me like their grandparents' names are Roma because she calls me Roro. And my mom is Roro's mom, so it turned into Roma. And then she calls my dad Pop Pop because that's what he requested because he loves Arrested Development. For those of you who are Arrested Development fans, you'll get that joke. But she's like, are Roma and Pop Pop married? And I was just like, yeah. I just lied.
Oh, you told her they were?
I mean, the complicated truth of it is like not something she's going to be able to understand for many more years. So I was just like, yeah, they're married.
Sure.
I just didn't feel like dealing with that. And then immediately afterward, I was like, this is going to come back to haunt me in a much more challenging conversation at a later date. But I love my parents. I love seeing them spend time with my kids. So it's always a really fun thing when they come into town. But they only come in for the day. I was like, y'all can spend the night.
Yeah, you got extra room.
You can stay. We have a guest bed. We've got my office has like a comfy couch, a blow up mattress we can put in there if need be. And now they drive the 2.5 hours in, and then they drive the 2.5 hours back, and that's that. But we had a blast while they were there. And then my stepdaughter got 102-degree fever, and all hell broke loose on Sunday. But all in all, productive weekend. I worked out twice, 2 times, count them. I'm feeling skinny, Tony. I am. But to move into our first topic of conversation today, I talked quite a bit on our Patreon exclusive episode last week about Threads, the new Twitter competitor launched by Meta and Instagram. And there is something about it that I had not realized, though, until this past weekend. And that's that on Threads, I am not blocked by any of the people I pissed off over the years on Twitter. Most notably, Darren Ravel and Deshaun Watson. Now, for those of you who have been listening to the show for long enough, you'll remember my beef with Darren Ravel. It's pretty one-sided. He just doesn't like me because he's the ESPN dork lord. I don't even know if he works for ESPN anymore. Just the sports dork lord who tweets out combination of queefs and tweets. He tweets out like random sports statistics and like mostly related to the business side of sports, which is annoying if you're like a purist sports fan or you played sports as a kid like I did, and like I consider myself to be, because it's kind of the side of the sports world that muddies it, right? Like when if you're only focusing on the money and the marketing and shit, like that's like, come on, it's like, goddamn it. Like I like it for the competition and for the actual games themselves, not for the dollar signs and the statistics behind the business of sports. So Ravel is a pretty mockable human being, but back on Twitter, and I'm talking 7-8 years ago, I used to troll this man by, and this is back when I had the blue check mark and like it wasn't a common thing. So when I would reply to him, like he would see my shit, and I would troll him by every time he tweeted out some asinine statistic, I would ask him a really, really stupid question just to get him to answer it. And I know that sounds like a dumbass. It was really, really stupid, like, but it was so funny because it was like the questions were posed in earnest to make him think I was super interested in what he was talking about. And then he kept answering me. And then on like the 5th or 6th time, he caught on, got upset, and he blocked me. And it was devastating because like I would always see people quote tweeting Darren Ravel or replying to his shit, but it wouldn't show me what he said. Of course, the fix was simply switching over to another account that he had not blocked, which was very easy considering I have to run like 5 of them. But he hasn't blocked me on Threads. So I'm going to have to concoct a new version of how to upset this man. I can't do the same thing because that's lame.
No, you can't, but you definitely got to let him know that you're here again.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby. And then perhaps more importantly, Deshaun Watson, who is already using the platform to spew out like ridiculous, like he quoted a Greek Stoic philosopher on Threads over the weekend, and it popped up in my feed, which, as we all know, the Threads feed is algorithmic. You cannot choose to only see threads from people you follow. It's just like Instagram. There's all manner of random shit thrown in, and it seems to use Instagram like as a basis for what you should be shown on your threads, because the two are connected. You log in to Threads from your Instagram account. So like I follow a bunch of, as I've spoken about on the show, like dad humor content. And that shit's just filling up my Threads feed. I follow Deshaun Watson on Instagram, where he never blocked me for making fun of him for allegedly committing sexual assault on masseuses in a variety of ways. So it's serving me his threads in my Threads feed, and I see this Greek Stoic philosopher quote, and I was just like, it just blew. First of all, I was jubilant because I now get to make fun of him again. But he will block me again. I guarantee Deshaun Watson blocks me again. I don't know if Darren Ravel will ever see what I have to say, but Deshaun I will get again because he's a very petty man.
Yeah, so you have a goal set out to get him to block you again.
I mean, I want to get all of the people who have blocked me on Twitter to block me on Threads eventually. Those are the two off the top that I can remember. I'm sure there are more. And I mean, of course, like famous, notable members of the media and professional athletes and such. I don't give a shit about regular, everyday
common folks.
Common folks. No,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in which one of y'all have blocked me. But for the big dogs, yeah, I'm coming. I just want them to know that I'm out there, you know?
Right.
Of course, there's a flip side to this. Everybody that I've blocked on Twitter over the years, I have not blocked on Threads.
Oh yeah, no, I've been making the rounds. Not blocking them, but muting them for sure.
That's the move.
Yeah.
Muting is the move, especially if you are in content creation, like if you do what Kade and I do for a living. You need to use the mute, like, because this way, if you're muting instead of blocking, the haters can still absorb your content and be triggered by it without you being exposed to their reaction to said content, which is that's much better for me. I mute the shit out of people. I have so many people muted on Twitter that have no idea. They have no idea. And what I like about Twitter is that when you tweet out something and then like one of the people you've muted replies to it, it lets you know in the replies. It just has a little box. It says this is from a person you muted.
And you can still like view the tweet if you want to.
And you can choose to see it. So there's some people I have muted that sometimes I still go and I click the box and then I'll reply to them every once in a while. Just because in general, I don't want to see everything they say and they reply to me too much. But maybe every once in a while I throw them a bone or whatever, you know?
Exactly. But yeah, no, I've just been making the rounds. I see like a bunch of like famous people on there now.
We see too many. Yeah.
Too many famous people that feel the need to thread their thoughts.
Yeah.
And I just don't care to see their thoughts about anything. So I've just been muting them.
They're often not even like, they're not thoughts. It'll be like Giannis Antetokounmpo asking, what is your ultimate goal in life? And you're like, oh, okay, dude, great engagement hack there, Giannis. Like, you don't need to talk with Giannis Antetokounmpo about your ultimate goal in life. I don't think many of us need him to inspire us to think about that. Perhaps some of us do. But Threads is it's very basic feeling right now in that way.
Yeah, they don't have like, I mean, there's a couple things that like Twitter has that Threads hasn't incorporated yet, like searching for topics or stuff like that. Like you can only
search for accounts.
Yeah. So if I like want to like see something about like the F1 race this past weekend, I couldn't like search for anything. And I just have to like see the feed. Luckily, I follow J-Bone, so he's keeping me up to date on everything. Or like if there's a new album that dropped, I like to see like what people are saying about it, or a new show. But you can't on Threads unless people are talking about it that you follow.
Now I'm not sure about the reasoning behind that, like why they have it set up to where you can only search for accounts right now and you can't search for takes on specific things without searching for accounts that are focused on those things, I guess. Because, like, to your point, you could find Formula Bone by searching for F1, but you can't find, like, just a list of people talking about the race and what happened or the most recent F1 news, which is a little bit weird. If I had to guess, I think they will change that aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just launched, so like I'm sure they're just trying to get it out there first, and then like try to figure out things that they need to tweak and hopefully improve on.
Yeah, I am staunchly anti-edit button. I don't want people like for years. People on Twitter were like, "We need an edit button." No, the fuck you don't. No, you don't. Just either learn to proofread or learn to live with like a spelling mistake here or there. Nobody cares. It's not that serious. I've never understood this. I don't know why you would need an edit button. If you fuck up a tweet or a thread, whatever, just delete it. Try again. Who cares? Like it's especially with threads where it's algorithmic. Not everybody is seeing every single thing you say. And that's kind of a misconception of social media anyway, that like anything you put up, you in your mind, you feel like, well, everyone is seeing this. The whole world now knows about this photo of my dog or this meal I just ate or this deep thought I had when I was stoned. Nobody cares. Like, you're not that important. This took me a lot of years to like wrap my head around. Like, I still struggle with it sometimes. I'll have like friends or family that ask me a question, and in my brain, I'm like, I answered this question on Twitter or my podcast. And it's like, nobody cares. Nobody's heard that. Nobody saw that. Like, it's tough to make sense of that, but it is the case for sure.
I also do like how it doesn't have the view count on Threads, so
Love it.
I can't see how many people actually saw my shitty tweet but didn't like it.
Don't care. Shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
it shouldn't matter. You can't see retweet counts, rethreads either. Like how many people shared it. I don't need to see that shit. I don't need to see. The only thing, like, I love that they didn't include that metric, but they have how many people liked it.
And the replies to it.
Yeah, keep it simple. Let's just keep this shit simple. We do not need 100 different metrics for each fucking thread. That's, again, it's like it's taking it too seriously at that point. And that's one of the problems we have with social media as a society, is that for a lot of us, it's like the end-all, be-all of our day-to-day interactions with the rest of the world. And that's not good. That shouldn't be the case. I'm anti-edit button. I'm also against lists. I keep seeing people ask, like, when are they going to add lists? Man, I've been on Twitter since 2009. Never once created a list.
What are lists?
I think it's like basically a way to set up completely separate like timelines for yourself. So like, all right, in this list, I'm going to put all the people I follow for sports content. And then you can go to that list and only see sports content, which makes sense, I guess, probably for more casual users, but like I'm on the shit all day, every day anyway. I'm not missing anything. I don't need it. I don't need it sectioned out. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I don't want lists. I don't want them. People used to say, don't Dallas my Austin. They didn't want Austin to get Dallas vibes, which it did. And I don't Twitter my threads. I don't need it to be the same. We already have that, and it's a fucking hellhole. And that is another thing I came to accept about threads over the weekend. Like, I solidified in my mind that this will suck one day. Like, as fun and positive and seemingly harmless as it is compared to Twitter right now, there's no way that maintains. Like, we've seen what Meta did to Instagram. We saw what they did to Facebook before that. There's just no way that it stays like clean. It's ad-free right now. There's like no ads.
Yeah, that's been huge so far.
Oh, it's amazing.
That was like one of the things on Twitter I did. Like, I would just like mute all the fucking ads that I would see, just so I wouldn't like. I thought like I wouldn't see them anymore, but obviously that's not the case. But that's been a nice change of pace so far. Not seeing ads every 3 tweets or threads, I guess.
I started blocking all the accounts that serve me ads on Twitter.
Yeah. And there are always like crypto stuff or like just something
worst.
that like I had like no knowledge of and like wasn't gonna pay attention to at all. And like I don't know why this is being served to me.
You know what I get every 3 tweets on Twitter as an ad? Cheech and Chong pot products.
See, I would like that
over and over and over and over and over, though. Like, so excessive. It's worse than the Sauron t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually deleted Twitter, just like the app, not my account or anything. I'm just not even gonna go on this for the time being.
Because you're gonna be a Threads guy?
Gonna try to be. I don't know. But I just hate going on Twitter, just seeing all that toxic negative shit.
It's mostly stuff that gets you down.
Yeah, but I will say, I don't get as much news on there. I don't see what's going on a whole lot.
I think that's a good thing.
That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, the more I've thought about it, and this is probably the biggest plus, the biggest positive for a new social media app legitimately getting a foothold in the social landscape, is that it gives us the opportunity to kind of analyze, like, what are we doing here? Like, what are all the compare and contrast of like Twitter and Threads for me has given me insight into the fact that, like, I've talked about it for years. Like, we as the human race, we know more now on a day-to-day about current events than we ever have before. Like, it used to be, even when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, you found out about shit from the 5 o'clock news, if you chose to watch it, or from the newspaper, like on Sunday, bro, like the day you finally had time to read the newspaper. That was it. And you could just go off of headlines and decide what you wanted to ingest. Nowadays, with social media, with Instagram, with Twitter, you're constantly inundated by all of the current events of the world, which, frankly, the way news organizations operate, there's a saying in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. Because things with bloodshed, chaos, negativity, war, murder, those things grab people's attention. And the longer you're reading something from a news organization, the more money they make, the more they can charge for advertising, right? So like there's all this depressing content thrown in front of us constantly. We don't need to be that plugged in. We don't, not automatically. Not just because we're online. Like if you're a person that's doing like, I don't know, something with political science for your fucking career and you need to be able to go and like look up the latest happenings every day, like fine, you can do that. But for the rest of us, like getting served all this shit, I've started blocking news organizations on Threads. I guess I had followed like CNN on Instagram, so I started getting CNN threads, and every single one of them was a huge downer. Like a massive downer. And I'm not saying we should all just live in complete ignorance all of the time. Like obviously that is not good either. But there is a balance somewhere in the middle, and we are far from it currently. If you're a social media person who's on Instagram several times a day, or Twitter or Threads, like you're seeing way too much of this shit, and I'm probably a pretty extreme example doing what I do for work. But I can, like, that's why I know what I know. Like, it's bad. It's fucking bad. I would much rather live, like, Elon tweeted something out. Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter, tweeted out that he would much rather live on Twitter than in the fake ignorance is bliss lifestyle of Instagram. And I was like, bro, I completely disagree. Like, I could not more strongly disagree. And this is a guy who apparently recently openly talked about his struggles with depression and like ketamine use to battle it. That's why you're depressed. I honestly feel like that's why I've been depressed at some points in the past, because it's like I'm absorbing yes, bad things are happening in the world, and I believe, honest to God, that there is a balance there that we are not getting exposed to with social media. Like a lot of good stuff happens too, every single day. Nobody pays attention to those stories though, so the news doesn't get like not to as an extreme degree as we pay attention to negativity, the whole it bleeds it leads thing. So they don't give us the positive stories. We get the negative stories only, and that shit eventually like day one, the first day you ever get on social media, it might not wreck you, but slowly, year after year after year, you're only being exposed to the most negative stories in humanity. You're going to get fucked up. That's going to mess you up. It's going to make you very sad inside.
It's going to grind you down, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would much prefer, not that I would prefer the fake world of Instagram. I think Instagram is by and large bad. The thing it does best is elicit comparison between your life and others, which is not good, because that's not how anything works. And nobody's showing you, like for the most part, nobody's showing you the reality of their life. Like you just see the high points. Nobody puts up a photo of them like fighting with their wife. That's not like, hold up, babe, let me grab a selfie while we're in the midst of this heated argument about parenting or whatever. Like that's not a fucking thing. So it's misleading, right? Just like it's all misleading. That's the hard thing to remember about it, is it like not only everybody doesn't see everything you say or put up, also none of it fucking matters. It's not real life. It's fake. And there are good pieces of social media in terms of like information, right? And I think something like Threads is more currently in its current state is usable as like a support system, like for people who, you know, maybe you're not getting all that much human interaction on a day-to-day and you want to be able to talk with people or share things about mental health or whatever. Like there are positive uses for it, but it's overwhelmingly a negative experience, which is why I have so far enjoyed the strange positivity and supportiveness of Threads. I saw a woman over the weekend. No idea why this got put in my feed. Maybe I'm like friends with like one of her kids on Facebook or something. I have no idea. Random middle-aged woman in my feed sharing the fact that her husband of 7 years, it's that she specified she had been with for 20 years, but they've been married for 7 years. He packed his shit, told her, "I don't love you anymore," and she left. And she shared this as a thread. It was like a Facebook status, right? Like that's some shit you'd expect like your drunk aunt to put on Facebook. And so I went to the replies because I was like, this is going to be a bloodbath. She's going to get slaughtered by people for putting this on here. Every single comment was like, "I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm keeping you in my thoughts and prayers. Let me know if I can help." Like all these people, like 30 people had replied in support for this woman. If you tweeted that shit, you would get flamed off the face of the earth. But it was really, really weird to see what I would expect to be a Facebook status on my Threads feed, which I guess is kind of what they're going for.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's, what Facebook used to be was, like, you just would post, like, life updates and stuff, and then that went to shit. And so there wasn't really a place for people to do, obviously Twitter, but, like, people that wanted something more positive, maybe.
Yeah. But as far as the muting and the blocking goes, to jump back to that, I use the mute button judiciously. Like, if you just mute anything that like, if you see something and you go, well, that's mildly upsetting, fuck it, mute them. Why not? Like, the block button should be used in instances of, like, harassment or potential danger, really, right? Like, there's no reason to block someone instead of mute them unless you judge the account to be some kind of a safety risk, or it's somebody that's just, like, literally harassing you. Like, then I get it, for sure. Block them. But, and again, this mostly applies to people that are in, like, content creation, because if you're not, block away. Do the whole Micah strategy with it. Just block anybody who upsets you for any reason. Why not? Because the comparison is in real life. Would you just stand there and just keep talking to some troll who was pissing you off?
Probably not now.
If you're standing at the bar and the person next to you turns to you and just starts talking shit, is your response to just stand there and continue listening to them for as long as they want to go on? No, it's not normal. It'd be fucking bizarre to expose yourself to that level of toxicity for no reason. And that's the thing with social is it's like, it's such a, people feel like we, each of us owes them our attention with whatever it is they're saying to us or asking us or whatever. And that's not the way life works. So it's a weird place, but, anyway, I know we're having fun on Threads. It's new and novel, but just keep the perspective. First of all, none of this is real. It's just for fun. And then also have some realistic expectations that the odds Meta turns this place into an over-algorithmed advertising machine like Instagram are very, very high. And the odds that Threads remains an overwhelmingly positive place for civil discourse are very, very low. That's very unlikely that we are looking at, like, this is not the final finished product. They're going to do all kinds of crazy shit to it that we're going to hate. And that's the way social media works. And then we'll have to wait for somebody else to make something at some point that makes us all even more confused and miserable. But, I did see you thread some stuff over the weekend. I see you trying.
I'm trying. Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying right now. Just whatever comes to my head, I'll throw it out there, I guess.
You use the Bo Burnham feeling like shit.
Yeah.
GIF.
I love that song. And
it's so good.
It's just like the perfect representation of, like, feeling like shit, I feel like.
I haven't gone back to watch Inside again in at least a year, I want to say.
Oh, I've done it twice in, like, maybe the past month or 2 months. Whenever I'm feeling really down, I kind of just, like, go to that.
It is extremely uplifting.
No, it is.
Because he's so fucked up in it. Like, he's clearly so miserably depressed that it kind of makes you feel, if you're in the same boat, you feel like you're not alone.
Exactly.
That's what I love. I was in a terrible place when that thing dropped.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Because it made me feel better. So I get that strategy. Deathly hungover and alone. Just throw on Inside, dude.
Yeah.
And make you feel better.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts, kid?
No. I guess I'll just share more of my thoughts on Threads.
Oh, yeah. Not here.
Not here. Not on the podcast.
Nah.
No, just strictly Threads for me.
Just if it doesn't make Zuck money, it doesn't really make sense. So
exactly.
Save it for there. Yeah. If you're trying to get in good shape and show off that hot bod this summer, today's sponsor, FitBod, is for you. Personally, with a baby and a 4-year-old at the house, I have very little time to focus on a workout routine, and I need something to help me out and plan workouts for me, like my own little personal trainer in my pocket. That's where FitBod comes in. The FitBod app creates a workout program that's personalized to your goals, your fitness level, and your available equipment. So it's not like you have to been working out for years. You don't have to have worked out ever. You could put that in there as your level of fitness. You could put the equipment you have available if you're like me and you're working out in your garage, and you can put your fitness goals, whether it's like building muscle or just generally getting in shape or getting great at cardio, and it will create workouts for you. It learns from your previous workouts and adapts as you improve. So you can start making progress towards your fitness goals today with 25% off a Fitbod subscription using our special URL. You just pick a fitness goal, select your equipment. Fitbod will create a custom workout program for you. Whether you've been missing gym time or hit a plateau, Fitbod will build a workout plan individualized just for you. The app switches up your exercises to avoid overtraining or burnout while keeping your workouts fresh and fun. I have been using it for over 2 months now. 2 to 3 times a week. I try to do 3 a week, and very rarely have I had a workout get served to me that I have done before. Like even now, when I've done it at least 30 times, the way it gets creative and continues to give you things you haven't done to keep you from overtraining or getting muscle fatigue is amazing. Your program also changes based on your personal progress for maximized results. So it can see, like, if you've done this weight a few times or whatever, it, like, raises the weight up a little bit. After each workout, it gives you the opportunity to tell it exactly how difficult it was for you. Like, this was ideal, or this was easy, or this was very hard, and I couldn't even finish it. So that it knows exactly where you're at. Whether you work out in the weight room or your living room or your garage like me, Fitbod has you covered. Learn new movements the right way with over 1,400 HD demonstration videos. So one of the things I was concerned about was like, well, I'm not going to know how to do any of this stuff. With each workout, there's a video of somebody doing it right there so you can see exactly how you're supposed to look, how the form is supposed to go. It's great. A full year of Fitbod is less than the cost of a single session with a personal trainer. Been using it every week. Really, really love it. Cannot say enough about it. Wherever you are in your fitness journey, get the most out of every workout with Fitbod. Get 20% off your subscription at fitbod.me/Ross. That's fitbod.me/ROSS. Fitbod.me/Ross. Click the link in the description of this episode to get in there today. I've got some insane headlines of the day for you. First up, in this video, if you haven't seen it, is just next level funny. Customers at Atlanta nail salon ignore man trying to rob them. It's from ABC 13 in Atlanta. Video released by Atlanta police shows the man, his hand in a bag, enter a nail salon and start shouting, "Everybody get down! Get down! Give me all your money!" Not a single person reacts. The customers look completely unimpressed. They all stare at him, barely move or change their expressions. It's almost like it's like out of a comedy film. One customer eventually does stand up and raise her hands, and when he confronts her directly, instead of handing over money, she slowly backs out the door, and he can't do anything because he doesn't even have. I think he was like he faked that he had a weapon.
Yeah, whenever someone has their hand in a bag, like trying to act like it's a gun.
Yeah, they don't have shit.
No, there's never a gun in that bag.
Yeah, they don't have shit. Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this. We all know this. It's 2023. We've seen movies. Come on. It says eventually the robber realizes he's not getting anywhere with this crowd. Stunned that trying to rob people armed only with sheer bravado does not work, he takes a moment to look around, then turns and walks out the door. This dude just fucking gave up. It's unbelievable. If you want to Google it, just Google Atlanta nail salon robbery and it'll be the first thing that pops up. The most defeating moment of this man's life for sure. Like imagine even getting to the place where you convince yourself you have to commit this act at all. You go in and do it and nobody cares.
Yeah,
nobody cares.
He's probably like in the car beforehand having to hype himself up.
You fucking got this, bro. You fucking got this. You're going to get in there, rob this place blind, leave, and then you can pay your mortgage for the month. And then he leaves empty-handed.
Well, not empty-handed.
What do you have?
There's a...
Police say he did swipe a cell phone from the woman who stood up, but it was later recovered. So what? He drove off and was like, at least you got this cell phone. And then he was talking to himself in the car. He's like, fucking pathetic. Cell phone's not even worth anything. It's got her SIM card in it probably. They're going to track it. Chunks it out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they did track it and recover it. So he didn't even get away with that.
He hasn't been arrested or anything?
No, it says the suspect remains outstanding.
Maybe.
But not outstanding at robbery.
No, he's pretty terrible at that.
Very bad.
Yeah. Did he have like the classic like pantyhose over his face, or what was he wearing?
He's got something over his head to try to conceal his identity, which I'm imagining is why he hasn't been caught yet.
Yeah.
But all in all, there's nothing like back in the day on YouTube. You always used to be these like failed robbery videos, or like on America's Funniest Home Videos and shit. Maybe not America's Funniest Home Videos, but one of those shows they would always show like a dude like falling through the roof of a liquor store is like one of the ones I remember. I feel like we don't get enough of that content anymore. Not enough failed crime content.
Yeah, I want to see that on my threads.
Yeah,
that's
that
what I
would be
want to
nice.
see more of. But yeah, I also love like when like at a gas station and like the dude behind the counter like has a gun that the robber doesn't know about, and then like pulls it out and like oh, you're fucked now.
Yeah. I also like the ones. There's one where like famously. This has happened many times, but I remember seeing it on, maybe it was like, what was the name of that show? I feel like it was like Dumbest Criminals, World's Dumbest Criminals was a show on TV. And a dude with a shotgun walks in to rob a gas station, and he sets the gun down on the counter to like open the bag for the guy to put money in. And the dude behind the counter grabs the shotgun and points it at the guy who's robbing him like, you fucking idiot. Are you serious? I'm pretty sure it was called World's Dumbest Criminals. That was incredible.
It was on True TV.
Yes. Yeah. We need more of that. Where's that at on the social media algorithms?
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe us talking about it will access that because the phones.
Yeah, they're listening. Zuck is listening.
Yeah. I know this because every single person listening has also gotten the ad for that Sauron t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's a virus that I'm spreading intentionally. And if you're wondering why I keep bringing it up, it's because I want to make sure it takes hold. Everyone needs to be tortured by the same ad that I'm tortured by every single day.
Still have not got it yet.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
What the fuck? Maybe you're immune.
Might be. Yeah. I might have the cure.
Wild
Stuff.
Next headline. Manhunt continues for survivalist murder suspect who escaped jail. This is from the New York Times. It says a manhunt continued on Sunday for a murder suspect who escaped from a Pennsylvania jail late on Thursday using bed sheets he tied together to climb down from the roof. Haven't they learned yet with the excessive access to bed sheets is bad? This is like one of the reasons Epstein was able to kill himself, because they left too many bed sheets around, apparently. It says Pennsylvania State Police said that Michael Burham, who escaped from the Warren County Jail, could be hiding in the steep, rugged wilderness near the city of Warren, which is about 20 miles south of Jamestown, New York. Warren borders the Allegheny National Forest, which covers more than 500,000 acres of rural Pennsylvania. The police described Mr. Burham as a self-taught survivalist with military experience and said they have found stockpiles of supplies as well as campsites that he may have used. Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, a deputy commissioner for the Pennsylvania State Police, said on Sunday afternoon, "It supports what we've said all along, that he's prepared as a survivalist in the past and tried to be ready, if you will, to spend time in the woods." Cecily Stelter, a Warren County spokeswoman, said that Mr. Burham escaped the county jail by climbing on top of exercise equipment and then out a metal gated roof, then climbed from the roof using bed sheets he had tied together. Couple of things. Never seen exercise equipment in a county jail. Sounds like it was a nice place. I've been to a few. Never had those amenities before. And also, if you're building a jail, maybe consider going with another material instead of metal gating for your roof. That seems like you're asking for it to me.
Yeah. So I feel like we haven't heard a prison break in a while. I
been a minute.
Like we don't get those very often.
Yeah, because it's tough, usually. They don't use metal gating roofs and provide you with a whole bunch of bed sheets to climb out. The problem with this, it's like, this is the perfect storm, because first of all, it sounds like he is an actually very bad dude. He, like, kidnapped an elderly couple, allegedly, at some point. He's done some really messed up stuff. But he's also equipped to survive for a long period of time in the 20 miles of, or I'm sorry, how many acres, whatever, 500,000 acres of rural Pennsylvania, Allegheny National Forest. So now there's just a murder suspect out in the National Forest. Just in case you were considering going camping there this weekend or anything, you should be aware.
Yeah.
You know. Now you know. Next and final headline. TikTok's latest trend reveals the toxic side of self-care. First of all, I want to be clear. I don't think there is a toxic side to self-care. What they're discussing here should not qualify as self-care, but I'll get into it. From CNN. After working another weekend shift, Dr. Jessica Gold returned home feeling burned out and succumbed to her urge to watch TV and sleep most of the day. As Gen Z would say, she was bed rotting. Bed rotting is the trend we are discussing here. Gold is one of the many TikTok users who weighed in on the latest viral self-care term, in which users post videos of themselves tucked under layers of blankets, oftentimes with a phone or snack in hand. The phrase describes staying in bed all day by choice, thereby rotting there. According to Gold, an assistant professor of psychiatry at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis. Wow. It says, here's her quote, "I think it is okay to do if you need it, and I have let myself do it, as long as you understand why you are doing it and turn to other coping skills as well." It says, bed rotting is similar to having a lazy day, but it's, quote, more of an immobile term with less activity. During a lazy day, you could still engage in activities that you find fun and relaxing while possibly spending time with friends and family, she said. The column goes on to explain how rotting in bed for multiple days could be bad and a sign of depression or anxiety or other serious mental health issues, which I frankly found that to be shocking.
That's crazy.
Rotting in your own bed for multiple days at a time could be bad?
Never would have guessed that.
Wow. It's a shocker. It also says that bed rotting, at the very least, could be detrimental to your sleep hygiene, which, yeah, we've got this whole circadian rhythm thing that if you just rot in bed all day, is probably going to get thrown off. You know? You ever spent like a day just massively hungover laying on the couch, resting, Kade? You ever done that?
Yes, yesterday.
6 of the last 7 days. When you try to go to sleep at night, it's a little more difficult because you've been inactive all day. That was always my experience anyway. So yeah, it makes sense that it would screw up your sleep hygiene a little bit. It even suggests that alternate activities like hanging out with a friend, exercising, or practicing mindfulness might be better alternatives than rotting in bed for multiple days. I just don't feel like, is this where we're at? Like we have to have this explained to us? Like we don't know that? That's not common sense? You don't learn that as a human? Like if you just lay lifeless in your bed for even one day, it kind of makes you depressed a little bit. Like you end up feeling like isolated, right? And like your brain is mush. But multiple days, it'll get you. For the full day, that's a 24-hour fucking period of time. You're rotting. You're literally, it's called bed rotting because you're rotting. I feel like it's obvious that would have some negative side effects. Rest, good, of course. It is. But like, just try going to bed early one night. Like, you don't have to rot in bed because you're tired from the week. That's bad. That's not good. And also, yeah, I think we're all aware that hanging out with friends and exercising and practicing mindfulness are alternate available activities. Also, practicing mindfulness as a term is just too general.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It could be meditating, journaling, going to therapy, stacking rocks.
Oh, is that what you've been doing recently, stacking rocks?
Down by the river? Yeah, you have to be by a body of water, though, for that to qualify. But I don't know. It continues. If you don't want to leave the house, try reading a book or journaling instead of watching television. It may also be beneficial to talk to a therapist. Therapy can help you learn new coping skills, get to the root cause of your bed rotting, and determine if there is some mental health issue going on, Gold said. Good.
Yeah, I've never used the term bed rotting, but I like to call them couch days because I just lay on the couch all day and just watch TV, and it's not great, but it's still enjoyable.
Look, every once in a while it's fine, and this is how most things are, right? Like, too much of anything generally is bad for you, but this just seems like such an obvious one, almost like, drinking 6 out of the last 8 days. But like it's something. In all fairness, Kade went through a phase where it was like his birthday stacked up against 4th of July, stacked up against the first Thursday of the month. So it happens, and then straight into the weekend. But my point is, like we know. Like sometimes we all do things that we know aren't the best for us.
Yeah, I'm not drinking 5 out of 7 days every week.
No, if this was like a pattern I was picking up on, then we probably wouldn't be talking about it on this show and making light of it. But in the case of bed rotting for multiple days at a time, anybody tells me they've been in bed for 2 days, I'm like, shit, you need to you want to go to lunch? We should have a talk. See how you're doing. You need to get out. And that can be tough. But even like, this is one thing I'm grateful for. Even when I was at my lowest, like in 2020, I couldn't do the bed rotting thing. I couldn't make myself stay in bed. Some days I really wanted to. I get too anxious just laying there. I have to go and move around. And like, at the very least, I would like blare music and dance around the house and shit, just like losing my mind slowly. But I couldn't just lay there. It was too miserable. Which is a thing that happens to a lot of people, especially with depression. So I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that. But yeah, look, in all seriousness, if the bed rotting thing is something you do too often, and you probably know the line, then don't do that. You know, get out, go to a coffee shop and just sit there. Anything to get yourself out of the setting that you are in. If it's just about rotting, because you could rot at a coffee shop or at a park. Or something. Not that national forest.
No, you probably want to avoid that one.
No, don't go there. But yeah. I hate how we're labeling everything now. The TikTok generation is really big on this.
Yeah, have to have a label for everything.
It has a term, it's a trend, it's trending, bed rotting.
Also, it sounds like a kind of a stupid TikTok trend. Like I'm just like
they are mostly
stupid, but like this one in particular, like I'm just gonna scroll on TikTok and just look at you like in your bed with a snack and be like, I'm bed rotting. I'm like, all right, fucking cool.
Who documents that?
Yeah.
If I'm in the situation where I'm going to rot, my body's going to rot in my bed, I don't think I'm going to video it and then share that with the world. Look at me, I've hit a low point.
I feel like shit right now.
I am completely fucking wiped. I literally can't move from this bed. Yeah, I think they should combine the grimace shake trend with bed rotting though. Have a grimace if you're already there. Have a grimace shake. Yeah, he'll get you out of that bed real quick.
He'll come take you out. Yeah, put you out of your misery.
He'll get you out of there. Good stuff. Today's episode is also brought to you by Liquid IV. Summertime is here, and as everyone knows, summer is hot. The most important season for hydration, no matter how active you are. Proper functional hydration is essential, and Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Their hydration multiplier is the one product you're missing in your daily routine. Use it first thing in the morning or before a workout. It's usually when I drink it. When you feel run down in the afternoon, after a night out with friends, or on long flights, with just one stick of Liquid IV, you can hydrate real life 2 times faster than water alone. Plus, get essential vitamins and 3 times the electrolytes as leading sports drinks. Liquid IV comes in 12 delicious, refreshing flavors to keep your hydration routine exciting. We have a massive supply here at Bolin Media. It's actually like a whole closet at this point. But it keeps producer Kade and I the most hydrated people possibly in the entire world, certainly in the podcasting industry. Not only is Liquid IV incredible and effective as a hydration tool, it tastes phenomenal as well, with a variety of great flavors like Concord grape, lemon lime, pina colada, tropical punch, watermelon, strawberry, and passion fruit. And 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. Contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Made with quality ingredients, non-GMO, free from gluten, dairy, and soy. They've got a sugar-free version of it now as well. Real people, real flavor, real hydrating. Grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code ROSS at checkout. That is 20% off anything when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code ROSS at liquidiv.com. Lil Uzi Vert. I hate saying it.
I just call him Uzi. I just like calling him Uzi.
All right, Uzi put out a new album, The Pink Tape.
Yeah.
Have you heard this yet?
I have listened to it, yeah.
Well, in conjunction with it, he's being more active on social media, and he posted a photo of him flying private using massive bands of money as a blanket. And this is a thing that rappers do. They have been for years. But it's like several $100,000 all over the table and all over him. And in 2023, rappers still doing this is incredibly corny to me. Like we all know you're rich. We know. You're already on the private jet. Do you have to put you can connect the dots just off of that imagery alone? We don't also need all the cash. And then it just seems like there's got to be a better way to pass the time. Build a house with it or something. Nobody believes you're using money as a blanket. For real. Nobody believes that. So I don't know why this keeps happening. Also, you would have thought I don't know, the XXX Tentacion thing or Nipsey, rappers getting, Nipsey, I don't think he did this, but X did. He had put up a bunch of money on social, and then that's why these dudes went to rob him, and then he got murdered in the fucking course of the robbery. So it's not safe is the other thing I'm saying, which makes me feel like an old person saying it, but it's not.
I just don't get why they feel the need
why do you even have that much cash, dude? Hundreds of thousands in cash? Why?
The only thing that I can think of why they would not even if it's over 100,000, I was gonna say the strip club, but you're not throwing that much.
No, these were hundreds. And I'm pretty sure at those strip clubs they give them that money to throw.
And then
is my
they might buy jewelry with it or something, but do they not have debit cards?
Even that, it just feels like it's a big red flag to the IRS too. Check my shit close, because I'm in a cash business. That doesn't feel like a good idea. But also, I don't think anybody sees that and goes, damn, that is cool.
No, not really. I also they also do they'll lay out all the money on their arm, try to stretch it out. I've seen that one a lot too.
Yeah.
Or you just with the fan and stuff.
Yeah.
So many ways to show off your money, you know.
Your Johnny
guap.
Manziel did the money phone,
Oh, I like that one a lot, yeah.
That was kind of funny because at least it's creative. But this one it was kind of it let me down, from my main man, Uzi.
Yeah.
Little Uzi Vert.
Little Uzi Vert, yeah.
He's a little fella.
He's a tiny guy.
Yeah, he's real small. The first line, literally, that he says on this new album, the Pink album, is, "First of all, I fuck 8 bitches a day. How could you ever say Lil Uzi gay?" That's the first line, which I thought it's a very funny line. I'm not sure he meant it to be. I can't tell. But he seems really self-conscious about people commenting on his sexuality. And I'm pretty sure he's non-binary.
Yeah.
They, them, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been a lot of older hip-hop personalities, especially, who have had negative things to say about him and painting his fingernails and shit, which I get it. I've been in that same boat, not attacked by the same audience, but you don't need to overcompensate by addressing it 5 times in the first 3 songs on your album.
Then I'm pretty sure immediately after that line he says I fucked 4 of them with condoms and 4 of them without.
I fucked 4 of them raw and 4 of them safe.
Yeah. Wait, how many is that for a year?
8 times 365.
That is almost 3,000.
Yeah, look,
females.
You're putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers here, Uzi. It's not safe. Again, just putting all that money on you in safe. You're gonna get all of the STDs. That's how you get all of them. And they're not Pokemon.
No, you don't want to collect them all.
You don't want to catch them all. You don't need to do that. By the way, the first song goes incredibly hard.
I do. Yeah, I like the first one a lot.
It is awesome. And I made it through 2 more after that, which were both equally dog shit. And then I had to pull the plug. I was like, I can't fucking do this. And
yeah, it's 26 songs, and there might be 6 that I like. It's if you like heavy metal stuff, then it might, because he's kind of is
he dabbles in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a weird blend of hip hop and hardcore punk or something.
So yeah, that wasn't really for me. I like his older stuff more, and there's some of that in there, but not a lot. So I don't really really fuck with it.
I would still argue that just in general, it's not good. Because it's not just that it's not for me. Like, I can differentiate between quality and dog shit.
Yeah.
And like those two songs after that first one. First song, again, standout, good song. The second one, I was like, oh, fuck, what is this? And then I was like hoping that the third one would shift away from it. It was kind of more the same. And I was just like, I can't do this. It's too weird. But yeah, it is really long. Hopefully there are some more songs buried in there that I can get behind, because not loving the vibe of the one out of the first three.
I think he's gonna drop another album here soon too.
I saw that.
And then we also have Travis Scott, maybe end of the month, and Drake too. So we got some big time artists dropping here soon. Excited for.
Huge.
And you can hear me talk about them on Patreon.
That's
when I do
right.
music reviews.
Kade has been giving us 3 at a time.
Yeah.
New album reviews on Patreon that have kept the older people like me plugged in, and we've gotten a lot of thank yous from listeners. Thanks, Kade, for the new music.
Absolutely.
It's good shit. Moving on.
And now, Ross Boland's Animal of the Week.
This week's Animal of the Week is the great-eared nightjar. Nightjar. As always, I recommend pulling up our Animal of the Week on Google Images, the great-eared nightjar. This thing looks like a little baby dragon. It's a bird, for the record. Dragons aren't real. But it looks like a little baby dragon, and that's like 75% of the reason that it's cool. But it has a big old mouth for a bird. It's super good at camouflaging itself and hiding. It inhabits places like Thailand and Vietnam, and were first described in 1831 by the Irish zoologist Nicholas Aylward Vigors, who gave great-eared nightjars their name for a very simple reason. They were observed flying at night, and many people found their unique haunting call to be jarring. Clever. This thing has baller night vision with specialized eyes to help it see in the dark. As Australian Geographic writes, the bird's eyes contain a layer of tissue called tapetum lucidum, which is also found in animals like cats and crocodiles, which frankly I didn't need to know. I didn't know crocodiles had like good night vision. That makes bodies of water scarier to me. But it allows night vision by reflecting light back through the retina. That's how the tapetum lucidum thing works. From allthingsinteresting.com, which I feel like has to be false advertising. They can't have all things interesting on one website, surely. But it says they avoid predators by being constantly on the move. Aside from nesting, they spend most of their time in flight. They catch prey like moths and beetles while flying. They even drink while flying. They fly over lakes and ponds and scoop up water, which I think assume.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were getting drunk.
No.
Okay.
You shouldn't drink and fly.
No, probably not ideal.
Not unless you're a great-eared nightjar. But it swoops down, and that's why the big mouth, I think. It's almost pelican-esque in that way. It doesn't look like a pelican. It looks like a dragon. But, it says, as nocturnal creatures with an otherworldly bird song and a haunting black gaze, nightjars around the world have inspired some seriously creepy legends. In Indonesia, for example, the satanic nightjar has such an eerie call that Australian Geographic reports some have compared it to the sound of plucking out someone's eyes. What does that sound like to you?
Would have no idea.
What is it? Is that it? Just plucking out someone's eyes. In Europe, similar legends have sprung up about nightjars. Ancient Greeks falsely believed that nightjars drank milk right out of the udders of goats, which led to their nickname, goat sucker. Same nickname as my wife. So random, right?
That's crazy.
European poets in the 18th and 19th centuries also called them lickfowl or corpse bird because of their association with death. Those goat sucker's a great nickname. I don't think you want to be corpse bird.
No, but why are they associated with death?
I think because of that noise it makes. It makes a crazy noise that makes it sound like someone's eyeballs are being plucked from their sockets. I don't know.
Yeah.
People pay too much attention to the night jar, it sounds like.
But that means someone has heard someone get their eyes plucked out.
Yeah,
because that's how you make the comparison. Because I
That's
can
what's
never.
so strange about making that what you compare it to.
Right? It's like saying like, no, oh, this hits like crack, but I've never had crack before, so like, how would I know?
How do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like admitting you've smoked crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the person that made that claim probably is the one that plucked someone's eyes out.
Yeah, but like I said, the thing that's tight about these is they look like baby dragons. That's pretty much it. That's the whole segment. I mean, that's all I brought to the table, frankly. I want one. You know? Look at it.
Oh, I'm looking at it, yeah.
You want Khaleesi to feed this thing a little piece of steak or whatever. That's what it reminds me of. Pretty gnarly. Didn't know birds like this existed, so that was pretty much it, though, yeah. The goat sucker.
Goat sucker.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Next Evo. Maintaining your wellness routine gets even more difficult during the summer. You got vacations, the kids aren't in school, it's hot as hell outside, you're off your game as a result. Your day-to-day may look different during the summer, but your wellness can stay on track with help from CBD. Next Evo Naturals developed Smart Sorb technology, clinically proven to help your body absorb CBD 4 times better than regular CBD oil because oil just doesn't mix with your water-based body typically. This works faster, too. When you need to de-stress and sleep better this summer, reach for Next Evo products. When I'm stressed out, the place I feel the effects of that stress the most is when I'm sleeping at night. I sleep like crap when I'm stressed, which is why I absolutely love these Next Evo Triple Action CBD Sleep, which has been helping me wind down, get to sleep, stay asleep, most importantly, and wake up feeling refreshed without the grogginess that other things have left me feeling. Upgrade to the experts in CBD. A recent lab study showed most of the top CBD brands contain as little as 60% of what their labels claim, so you're not getting what you pay for. Next Evo tests their products multiple times to ensure that you get 100% of what's on the label. They do their research as demonstrated by 4 clinical trials. No other CBD brand comes close. Stay well this summer with smarter CBD from Next Evo Naturals. Go to nextevo.com/RBP to get 20% off your first order of $40 or more. That's 20% off at nextevo.com/RBP. Kade, you mentioned Travis Scott finally put out a release date for his new album. I think it's July 28th, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like a release party, not like the actual album release.
Oh, that makes it even more fucking annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah,
Well, it is on July 28th. That is a Friday, so maybe he is dropping it.
But he hasn't confirmed that.
No.
All we know is that, so this is what I want to talk about briefly here, is that this has been a wild saga. Like, Travis Scott went from, like, completely unknown to one of the biggest hip-hop stars almost overnight because he got, like, Kanye West made him, like, his protege, sort of. And this is years and years and years ago. Way, way back in the day. Like, you know, I don't know. When was his first album, probably? Look it up for me, would you?
Yeah, I got you.
It's been a long time. And it's kind of the most insane rise I've ever seen, just in terms of, like, it's not like he put out 1 or 2 hits and then, like, people started to pay attention and then the next album gained him more acclaim. Like, he just seemingly jumped from, like, the bottom to the fucking top.
Yeah, his first album, Rodeo, was in 2015.
Yeah. And so what is that, 8 years now?
Yeah.
So obviously we first heard about Utopia in 2021 when he dropped at least 2 singles, and then the Astroworld disaster happened, and he, like, packed up his shit and left, basically. It was just like, very clearly, the label and his PR people, and perhaps even Travis himself, were like, and this would be a good time to take a break. He wasn't doing any music, not even features, for like 2 full years. And then this year, you started to see him coming out and doing some things here and there. Did a few features, and then he started a couple weeks ago walking around everywhere with this fucking briefcase that says Utopia on it. Very clearly gearing up for the album release, which is just, it feels a little icky because it's like, oh, what, now enough time has passed since all those people died? You know what I mean? That is part, like, it is weird to me. I would have gone with a completely different fucking name. Like, scrap the name. I wouldn't want to do anything that reminded people, like, hey, a bunch of young people died at my concert.
But that was Astroworld, not Utopia.
I know, but it was the album. Like he was still gonna do Utopia as the next album at that point. Like the name was already out there, so I just feel like there's negativity associated with it, and maybe that's more for people that are like from Houston because it was such a big deal there. But it still weirds me out a little bit. I realize he's been ruled legally to not have been held responsible for any of the deaths that occurred. I realize it was a freak accident. I'm just saying generally, like. Because as I talked about when it happened, his whole brand is raging, trying to get people to turn up as hard as they can. And then if people die doing so, there is something to be said about that, right? Like on some level, even if you're not legally responsible, it's still, I would think like a wake-up call, like maybe I shift directions here. I don't think he's doing that, obviously, but took some time off, stepped away from the game, let the whole people died thing wash over. And then now he's been promoting this album, and it sort of reminds me of like the Weeknd, like he's doing gimmicks, like the briefcase is a gimmick.
Yeah,
the Weeknd doing whatever that was with his plastic surgery face. Remember that?
Yeah, where he's like all busted up and stuff
for like a year.
Yeah,
that was a gimmick, worked, but I that shit just weirds me out a little bit. But now we're here, and he's doing...
Do you think there's actually anything in that briefcase?
No,
I've seen like a
no.
couple people with it like out and about and stuff.
There's no fucking way. Like, what, the one copy of the album is in there or something? Like somebody's going to steal it and put it on the internet or something? There's just no fucking way. But he's doing this ridiculous rollout with that July 28th, which allegedly is the album release date. It is the date he will be performing Utopia at... I think the Pyramids of Giza.
Yeah.
In Egypt. Yeah, Pyramids of Giza. So
that's actually where he's.
That's it. Yeah, that's where the show is. You can buy tickets.
That'd be actually kind of sick.
Go see the pyramids and Travis Scott. Yeah, it's insanely over the top, for sure. I hope it works for him.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw he like started posting like a bunch of merch and stuff for it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming soon. But yeah, I've been waiting for, like his last like studio album was in 2018. Dropped another one in 2019 with like his label or whatever. But yeah, it's been like 5 years since we got an album from him.
Yeah, I like his music.
So some high expectations for sure. And
yeah.
No, I'm sure people are gonna be interested to see if he even talks about the Astroworld stuff too. If he brings it up at all.
I doubt it very much.
Yeah.
What do you say? And did you see him try to talk about it when that one interview he did? That was so bad.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his like Instagram Live or whatever.
That was bad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did the one Instagram Live where people were like, Jesus, dude. And then he did one interview with equally shitty results where you just didn't feel the empathy. You were just like, I mean, I imagine, in fairness, that it was an incredibly difficult thing to process. If like 8 people or whatever died while we were recording a podcast because they got too excited, like I would carry that with me for a while. It'd be tough to process. I wouldn't really know how to rationalize that into my life mixed with my professional life. It would be hard. I don't think that's ever going to happen, Kade. It's not something you should worry about. But I do feel for the guy on some level. Also, it was horribly mishandled on another level in multiple ways, not just the concert itself, but also him after the fact, the aftermath, his handling of it. It does weird me out, and I hope the album is really fucking good because I like Travis Scott. I do. And there's a void that needs to be filled here. Like, Kanye is gone. The anti-Semitic shit, the Hitler shit, it's over. Like, he put out a couple songs after. Nobody listened to him. Nobody cares. And, you know, if Trav had to go away for a couple of years because people died, Kanye's going to have to go away for a few years before people come back to being open to listening to him. And I don't think a lot of people ever will.
You're telling me you're not banging Donda 2 still?
I'm telling you that in some ways, coming out and saying you love Hitler and the Nazis is worse than having a bunch of people die at your show. Because people can forgive one of those things. The other one is a little bit tougher to wrap your head around. Like, what? Like the worst atrocity in human history, and you're down with it? Like, even if the underlying message was supposed to be that you love everybody no matter what, that was the worst way to communicate it in the history of communication. So I don't know if there's any coming back for Kanye. And there's that like void that Kanye left behind that this dude is best suited to fill. He is. Like he is. He is like a Kanye clone in a lot of ways. When he first came out, like on Rodeo, there were some of those songs where I couldn't tell who it was. If it was Kanye or Trav. I didn't know. So I'm kind of excited, but I'm being cautiously optimistic because I'm a little scared that he might shit the bed. I doubt it though. He feels like one of those dudes that is so backed by the industry, like the label is so invested in him that there is no way they would let this be a failure.
Yeah.
Like they bring in Mike Dean and Tedros for this one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I saw he posted a video on Instagram. Is it Rick Rubin? Is that?
Yeah.
He's a music guy.
The bearded guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so he was with him, and like that dude's pretty.
Yeah, Rick Rubin doesn't miss.
Yeah, so think he'll be all right. If he's working with people like him, like I think he'll be.
Did you see the Dave episode where Lil Dicky goes out to Rick Rubin's Shangri-La?
Yeah.
So I think it was Bob Dylan's place that Rick Rubin bought. And like one of the things there is Bob Dylan's old tour bus that he's turned into a recording studio where like you can record in there. But a whole...
he did like a little renovations.
Yeah, it's some renovations for sure. It's it's like the most hallowed ground for creating music that we have in the United States, basically. I didn't realize he worked with Rick Rubin. That's huge, frankly. And I think it's very expensive. Rick Rubin is so fucking cool. There's also a David Letterman episode where he interviews Lucas Nelson, I believe, and Willie Nelson's son, one of his sons. Big fan of Lucas, but he interviews Lucas at Shangri-La while Rick Rubin is like working with him on his album, and interviews Rick as well, which is really cool on that David Letterman show that he put out on Netflix or whatever.
Oh, like
if you want to watch
next
guest
or
my
whatever.
next guest. Yeah. Anyway, finally got a date for this. The only reason it's important to me for the most part is that I'm sick of seeing the hype around it. I'm just so sick. It feels like it's been 3 years of nonsense. Like people last year started being like, when is Utopia going to drop? It's like, okay, we're finally finishing this saga and we can all move on. But hopefully it's dope. We'll see. That will do it for today's show, but please support our sponsors by hitting the links in the description of this episode and using our dedicated codes. That's how we pay the bills here at Bolin Media. Great sponsors today. nextevo.com/RBP for 20% off your CBD. Also, liquidiv.com, code Ross for 20% off anything you order. And fitbod.me/Ross for 20% off your subscription of Fitbod. Or you can just try the app for free as well. There's like a trial period you can sign up for there. Fitbod.me/Ross. It's great, I promise. Check out our other shows by going to bolinmedia.com. We've got Jared's F1 show, Formula Bone, covering the latest, which I believe was the British Grand Prix.
Yep.
Which, once again, Max Verstappen won. Shocking stuff. It was fun there at the beginning for like, a whole 2 minutes to think that Lando Norris might actually take first place. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is wrapping up coverage of Apple TV Plus's Silo this week. Of course, I have Banging the Can, our Houston sports podcast. BolinMedia.com/shop to get yourself some merch like the RBP hat I am wearing atop my head, or a Horny for Sunsets t-shirt, or a finishing cup mug, or a Stack Good Days mug, or baby onesie, or mouse pad. We got all kinds of good stuff. BolinMedia.com/shop. Follow Mr. Kade Orris at KADEORRIS on Threads.
Yeah, specifically Threads now because I have like maybe 50 followers. None of my friends are on Threads right now. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, I like that element of it though. I'm just saying shit, and there's like a very small audience of people saying it.
But your small audience is a little bigger than my small audience.
Yeah,
but that's just
it's all relative though. It's all relative. This episode of, or follow me too, at WR Bolin on Threads. This episode of the Ross Bolin Podcast is presented by Bolin Media. Video of today's show is produced by Kade Orris. Go to youtube.com/at the Ross Bolin Podcast to subscribe for full video of our show plus funny clips. We'll be back later this week with a ad-free Patreon exclusive episode for those of you supporting our show on patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast, just like we do every week. Until next time, peace be with you. And also with you.